I've lied, done all I said I wouldn't do. And I cannot believe I'm crying. Hello, good evening, good people. I just have a cancellation for an interview. So I'm going to come on here real quick on this Thursday evening and talk about this. Let's see here. What is the difference between a boss and a manager? I'm going to give you some real life interpretations of this concept, and I'm going to write it down. My friends, are ready. I am ready to start another book. And in this book, we're going to talk about solutions. I've heard all the problems. You have too. You've heard all the problems in education. You've heard all the problems. You've heard people complain about their job. You've heard teachers say, we don't get paid enough. We don't do this enough. We're not, respected enough and all of that. What do you think would happen if all people who made the decisions had to switch places with you? What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? Okay, put it in the chat. I just wrote it down myself. I'm going to give you a scenario, then I'm going to go to bed. The difference between a boss and a manager is a boss is a person that makes you follow the rules. They're enforcers of the law. They're not creators of the law. They're enforcers of it. They keep the system in line. They keep all the boxes checked. They keep the doors locked. They make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. And you, my friend, as an employee, are just a cog in a wheel. You serve a purpose, you have a job, you do that job. They're there to make sure you do it. They don't care about your feelings, they don't care about your kids, they don't care about what you got going on, they don't care if you have a headache, they don't care if you have emotional problems, they don't care if you have mental health breakdowns. They don't care. A boss has a bottom line. They're not emotionally attached to the job and they're not emotionally attached to you. Okay? A manager or a real leader is a person who connects and knows that a person is not a job, a person does a job, that a job and human being are different, right? And they understand the humanity in what they do because they are, connected. They lead by example. They are servants. They get in there and they do the job that everybody else doesn't want to do because they're qualified to do it because they've been there themselves. A manager is a person that sees a problem and says, how can I solve this problem that where everybody wins, where I'm not beating people over the head with rules and regulations? A boss just says, nope, they're going to do what I say do or they're fired. I don't care how they feel about it. This is what's going to happen. Okay. Now, here's my scenario. And I haven't given you that setup. Here's my scenario. If you're a boss and if you're a principal or CEO, corporate human resources director, whatever it is that you are in charge of a human beings or a group of human beings. Let's say you're having trouble with absenteeism and late people that are not coming to work and people who are tardy. That's a common problem for people in management positions. Now, middle management doesn't like to deal with it, but they have to because personnel is part of their job. It's their job to hire and fire people, to write people up, to. So I'm gonna just throw out a number. I don't know that this number is probably not relevant to a whole lot of people, but I will throw it out there just to give you some reference. Let's say 40% of your staff is late once or twice a week. It's a problem. Let's say that 60% of your staff, none of them have perfect attendance, right? So it's about 40% that come to school every day on time, and then there's that 60% that either are late or they don't come. It's a problem. I know it's a problem. Now, in teaching, it's a major problem simply because they can't find anybody to substitute for these kids when we're not here. You know, they have a hard time finding people to watch your class when you're not there. Some certain areas, not everybody. I'm generalizing, but they're not everywhere. So, as a boss, you got to make these people come to work on time. This is your signed contract. You come to work on time, or I'm gonna write you up, and I'm gonna write you up, and I'm gonna write you up, and then if I keep having to write you up, I'm gonna fire you. Right? You don't talk to your staff. You don't communicate with your staff what your expectations are. You just tell them, do it or die, basically. Do it or get another job because you're a boss. You have legitimate power. You have, a name on your door and some letters behind your name. You are the boss. Now the problem with this mentality is simple. If you squeeze people too hard, you're going to lose them and they're going to lose respect for you or your system, one or the other. So even if they seem like they respect you, that's only in your presence. They really don't have respect for you because you're pushing and squeezing them too hard. So when you're a tough boss, when you're a tough person when you're tough on on the people that work with you or the people that work under you, I should say, then you will lose them little by little by little by little by little. I've seen it. I have seen it. I've had those bosses and so have you. So when you are that kind of boss, and I hope just one person gets a hold of this video tonight. When you're that kind of boss, the control you think you have, you will lose because you will constantly be replacing people. Either every year, every 6 months, every 3 years, whatever it is, whatever the cycles are. For us in teaching is every year you're having to replace teachers because they don't want to deal with that kind of, that tyrannical type of behavior. We want to be trusted. We want to be accepted for who we are. We want to be, trusted as humans to get to work on time and do what we're supposed to do. Now, a manager, and I've seen this as well. Same problem. Same problem. A servant leader, a leader, a person that leads by example, a person that understands the human component of what they're doing. They have a conversation with with their staff. School year starts. There's no problems yet, so they have a conversation. Hey, these are the rules. This is a staff handbook. I'd like for everybody this year to be on time. So I'm implementing a program where if you come to work on time, you get rewarded. If you come to work every day, you get rewarded. Hey, what's the reward? It'll be we're working that out. But right now we're having trouble with like 40% of you guys are either late or not coming in at all. And so the staffing issues are a problem. So we're going to ask you guys to I know you're human. I know things happen. You know you have kids. We know. But at the beginning of the year, I'm telling you now that we're going to try to implement a program because we have it for the kids. Why not have it for you? Speaking as a teacher. Okay. So as the leader, you see, again, school year starts, people are starting to call in, they're starting to come in late. And then bam, 60 days in, you start giving out awards. Now, these awards are not certificates because, as a servant leader, people don't want that. I don't want a piece of paper that says thank you for being on time and thank you for being here every day because that's what I'm supposed to do. I don't need to be rewarded for doing what I'm supposed to do. But you see that the teachers that are here every day and are here on time get a little bitty ticket that says you get a day off or or they can give them money, some type of gift card that's cash. You're like, well, shoot, she got that? Oh, she was here every day? Like every day? Well, I missed 1 or 2 days, but that was it. She wasn't late ever? Ever? She wasn't ever late? Oh. Then you start talking amongst your peers. Well, she did say at the beginning of the year she was gonna reward us. Oh, that's right, yeah. So they get a day off for being perfect attendance? Hey, that don't seem right. You think we can get that? Okay. You talk amongst yourselves. Now, if you're a boss, 60 days in, your employees are still off. They're still late. They're still, calling in late or calling in sick, and they don't want to be bothered with you because they don't want to feel like being bothered with you in that job. So you in a meeting yell at everybody and tell them that their job is on the line. And if I have to keep telling people to be here on time, I'm just going to find somebody to replace you. You remind them of the rules and you tell them that these are absolutes and you don't if you don't like it you can leave. But the problems exist. So the talking, the buzz in the room is different. It's like, who do you think? There's resentment and fear going around right now. No one's saying anything, but they're resentful for what you just said, or they're in fear of their job. So maybe they come to work every day on time because they don't want to lose their job, or maybe they just don't give a f. and they start looking for another job, and they do that phrase that's going around. They start quietly quitting. Hmm. Because you're the boss, and people need to just do what you say because you are the boss, and you just I'm gonna highlight your name every time you're late. I'm gonna highlight your name, and I'm gonna tell you every week how many times you've been late. Then I'm gonna write you up. I'm gonna give you warnings in your box and tell you and give you emails and say if you were late 5 minutes every single day. Because you're a boss. Now over on the management side, time is ticking. 60 more days pass. Less people are late and less people are calling in sick. Now everyone is human, and everybody has kids, and everybody got things they got to do after school. So people still miss work, but now they have an incentive to come. Which one would you be? Which one have you been? See, one of the reasons why teachers leave the profession is because they're not respected as adults. They're not respected as professionals, I should say. Not adults, because we work with children, and they treat us worse than they do the kids. They hold us more accountable than they do the children. They give the kids rewards and differentiated instruction, and they subsidize everything that they make them make 1,000 excuses for why they can't pass and why they don't do things right. But when we mess up, we're held to a higher standard. And one of the things I keep hearing from my teachers, and I've heard this from my colleagues and my friends, one of the things I keep hearing is they don't trust me to be a professional. It's like they don't trust me to do my job. They have to micromanage everything that I do. Mm. My book that I will start in January, I'm gonna start looking for people to help me write my book, to co-write this book with me. It's gonna be a book of solutions. And one of the solutions for me in the world of teaching is gonna be flexible work hours. It's not that hard. It's not that difficult to implement. It doesn't really cost that much money. It actually doesn't cost anything. So if you're not gonna pay teachers what they're worth, give them back their time. Give them back their time. Flexible work hours mean something like this. We all come in at 7:30. We all leave at 12:30. When you leave at 12:30, you go home and work. You can go home and work, or you can stay at the school and continue to work and plan for the next day. The core teachers teach in the day in the morning time, and we call it specials. I don't know whatever you want to call them. This music, the art, PE, anything dance, whatever it is that's extracurricular. That's at the end of the day. But the core subjects like reading, math, writing, science, social studies, art, history, all of those things are in the morning. And teachers are free to leave after that. They can go home and work. PDs are done online. They can do all their planning at home. And if they want to meet to plan, they can plan from their computers because we're in a digital age now. We're not going back to cave. We're not going back to chalk and making our own copies. We're not going back to that. So why is the world of education not changing with the times? Why are we still clicking off boxes and micromanaging our day, the day of a teacher? Why are we still doing that? You're driving them crazy and you're driving them out of the door. Part of my job is to keep them inside the door, but I can't keep them if these people in charge are trying to be the boss. Instead of trying to manage people or manage their circumstances, manage people. You're managing human beings. These human beings have a life. These human beings have issues. These human beings have circumstances that prevent them from being on time sometimes. They have issues that cause them to be late. I work 45 minutes away. If there's a little bit of traffic, I'm 10 minutes late. Even if I leave early, if there's a little bit of traffic, I'm 10 minutes late. And by late, I mean, like maybe 5 minutes over because I usually get there 15 minutes early. But, highlighting my name because I'm 5 minutes late after all the years I put in being early and being on time and being staying late on your behalf is disgusting to me. Those practices need to be done away with. You're treating me like I am, like I can't do my job just because I'm running late. Mm, you need me more than I need you. Principals, superintendents, whoever's in charge. deans and directors of education. You need us more than we need you. A school can run without leadership, but a school can't run without teachers. Period. And we want to be treated like the professionals that we are. Stop trying to boss and rule over everybody. Those managers who are like that, who learn those techniques early, they need to be replaced or they need to change. They're the ones that if you don't get with this program, you need to be fired. But people are doing it every day. Somebody's going to work tomorrow and they're going to have that boss standing over their cubicle, standing over their desk, standing over this, standing at the door, making sure they're doing everything that's on their list for them to do. A check box checker, file filler. Right? It ain't working. If all the things in education that are broken, that system ain't working. You have to stop treating teachers like they are criminals in a halfway house. You late. You wasn't here. All the hours we put in. We got our own kids to worry about. And with that, I'm off my soapbox. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Teacher Coach. My name is Kendria Johnson. I make good teachers great by bringing them out of burnout back to a balanced life. Make sure you get a copy of my book. I will see you next time. Mhm.